Hello, Kaiju Seekers. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing what exactly is a kaiju and how you can tell stories about them. I want to use this video specifically as a launching off point to begin a broader examination of the subgenre and what exactly constitutes a kaiju story. I've had a few discussions here and there already between people on Twitter and things like that, and I've gotten a taste of what a few other individuals might think on the matter. And this is also going to discuss the topic of kaiju stories without humans, and if that's something that is both feasible and valid within this community and studio environment. My personal position has always been that the subject of kaiju, or the definition of kaiju, is one that is essentially boiled down to abnormally large and or powerful animals, and humans themselves are not essential for a story to be told involving them. And what I want to say on this topic of humanless kaiju stories, it's something that started to be discussed, I want to say, around the release of King of the Monsters, especially after Michael Dougherty, the director of that film, mentioned the prospect of making a Godzilla BC style story. More recent discussions of that idea started to revolve around GXK and how their scenes involving the kaiju oftentimes didn't really have humans. And the consensus, I would say, seems to be that while the segments are well done, they often felt out of place in terms of the realm of kaiju storytelling. And Kong's story specifically is often referred to as a Planet of the Apes, but with kaiju. And while I agree that the story and its portrayal are similar in that way, I wouldn't say that itself detracts it from being a well-told kaiju story. And one person I had a discussion on the subject matter said that stories like these no longer made it a story about the kaiju, since there are no humans involved. And I believe they also stated something akin to humans being integral to the context of what makes a kaiju in the first place, and just provides context to their existence. And I would say this mindset made sense, but only when it's applied to that specific kind of story. Stories we've all heard before, like Godzilla, King Kong, things like that. Those stories all involved what those monsters meant at the time and to the human characters specifically. But I would say it's not the only way to depict a kaiju story. My stance on it is specifically that a human's perspective is not integral to the definition or depiction of a kaiju, and it's mostly because there are multiple ways to depict that scale and importance of the kaiju without the need for human characters or any kind of human perspective. And while films like GXK have moments where humans are there to provide some context, there are multiple scenes that, again, don't involve them, and they are able to tell a mostly coherent story with visuals and performances alone, while still keeping that importance of scale to the characters as kaiju in this world. And this is done through the use of things like environments, the stylistic movements, and sound design. You can still feel the sense that these are not regular sized animals, but are in fact these larger than life strange beasts. The lack of humans does not mean that they aren't kaiju anymore. The kaiju are kaiju because of how they are depicted in a variety of storytelling ways, through visuals and other means, and not just for that one specific depiction of a kaiju story. And you can have a Planet of the Apes style movie with kaiju, and it can be done well. It has been done well in various instances. And one example that is not kaiju specific, but is a great example, is Primal, the Genndy Tartakovsky TV show. And it is a prime example of how visual storytelling can be used to tell a myriad of emotional and dramatic tales without the need for dialogue. And the next step to make a great kaiju story with that would just be to make the characters kaiju and then just apply all of the scaling and then the significance of them being kaiju, which again, there's multiple ways to show that. And the subject of pacing has also been called up as an issue that could happen because most people, I would say, aren't used to that style of storytelling in movies or long storytelling like films. But I would say pacing is an issue considering that the other year, Flow, the film, was met with high praise and won Best Animated Picture, I believe, at the Oscars. And that was a film without dialogue and a animal cast. So there were no humans in there for people to specifically relate to. But both these two pieces of media, Flow and Primal, show that you can tell these stories without the need for humans and still get an engaging experience. These scenes in GXK show that you can depict kaiju without the need for humans to portray that significance of what they are. And above all, kaiju themselves can be used as a versatile range of characters to tell a wider range of stories. And none of these have any limits to them in terms of, what would make them a kaiju, and is this specific way the only way that we can validly call them kaiju. I don't agree that we need humans specifically for that context. Ishiro Honda famously said, "Monsters are tragic beings. They're born too tall, too strong, too heavy. They're not evil by choice, and that is their tragedy." I would say that the sentiment expressed here is not predicated on humans needing to bear witness to this tragedy, but can also be expressed through any of the various means that I have shown here today. Through use of environment, performance, and scaling, you can tell stories of these monsters being tragic beings in any world that they inhabit. And that, above all else, is why I would say that kaiju essentially are these larger-than-life, powerful beings that can exist in any story, any world that the author wants to imagine. Well, there you have it, guys. That was my take on the subject of what kaiju are and how you can tell stories with them. And let me know what you guys think down below. Again, I want to use this as sort of a launching pad to explore the subject further. I'm hopefully going to be doing some more streams soon, so I may make a stream on the subject if anyone wants to come on and discuss further. But without further ado, thank you guys for stopping by. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Kaiju Seekers, over and out.